What's up, everybody? I'm doing a little bit of a different thing this time from my usual stuff. I know a lot of you probably follow me for my campaign videos, but I wanted to take you all through some numbers that I've been looking at over the last few weeks. Now, I know traditionally, most of the time, people are going to be looking at the polling to gauge the trends about what's going on um, in an election, but for me, I've been looking at it an alternate way of doing that. And what I've settled on is the betting odds for who's going to get the nomination. Now, one of the things I do like more about going off of the odds is you don't have a lot of these inconsistencies across the polls that you find where one pollster uses this methodology and you got to account for margin of error, then you're at that point you're cherry picking. One poll might be better than the average, one poll might be worse than the average, and uh, so rather than do all that, I find that there's a little bit more consistency between with the odds makers as opposed to the pollsters. Now, and additionally, I find that the betting averages are a little bit more illustrative, and they're updated every day most of the time. I mean, um, so just to go through these numbers really quickly with you guys, you can kind of see here in the early part or the latter part of the last year when Elizabeth Warren was really doing well. She was actually getting better than 50% odds at one point. And Bernie, at this point, he was having that health scare, and everybody was kind of counting Bernie out at that point. Then we got the endorsement from AOC. We got the squad endorsement came through, and since that time, Bernie has really been surging up, and Warren really fell all the way down into the basement at this point. And it's gotten to a point now that you can see from the averages that Bernie has actually taken the lead in the last couple of weeks over Joe Biden, and Warren has fallen all the way down to fourth place. Well, actually, Mike Bloomberg is getting a better odds than she is at this point. Now, also, they do have odds per state contest, which I went ahead and averaged out for you guys. Now, we know the first contest is Iowa, so you can see that all these different betting markets set these various odds. So when you average all of them out, you can see that Bernie is getting about 63, 62.5% favorability to win Iowa versus Joe Biden, who's getting it's his nearest competitor in that state, and he's getting about 30%. And you can see in the New Hampshire primary, Bernie is just kind of killing it right now. I mean, he's getting about 75% odds there to win that primary, versus his nearest competitor Joe Biden's getting about 17%. Now, Joe Biden is the leading odds getter other than Bernie in most of these states that you're going to find. That's why I've only included his, and then also I'm not just gonna include everybody that's pretty much past their relevancy at this point. Now, when it comes to the state of California, we only really got two sources for the odds in that state, but just based on those two, you can see that Bernie's actually getting 70% odds versus Joe Biden getting about 29%, and in Nevada also, Bernie is getting uh, over 50% odds. Now, for a lot of people that probably aren't familiar with how odds work, I'm just gonna make it simple. If you're getting better than 50% odds, you're in pretty good shape. Um, what happens at that point? Usually when you bet on something, you're gonna want to get back more than what you actually bet on. So if it's just to keep it simple. If you put $10 on a bet, you want to get at least $10 back. Now, the only reason you would get less than that is if the favorability was such that it wouldn't be worth it to have that on the board for a payout. So the fact that Bernie is in the first few states getting well over 50% odds in bunch of these places means that we're in pretty good shape at this point. But regardless of that, we just still got to keep on the effort to keep these numbers in our favor. So get out there, canvas, text, get phone bank, whatever you can, and let's bring this one home.